You are here, you have made a great choice. I hope you will find out for yourselves, I'm sure you will. We're really happy you're here. We're going to let everyone introduce themselves in just a second, but just so you know who I am, my name is Shelley Cruz. I'm the Education Director here at Greenspring. So this is going into my 30th year in education, because I am that old. And the beginning of my 5th year here. I've been a lower elementary guide here, I've been an upper elementary guide here, and now I'm stepping back into this role again. So I'm thrilled to be here. I'm also a parent, so you know I have literally walked in your shoes. I had 3 children under 3, which was a lot, so I have literally done what you're doing. I can feel it, I can remember it. My children are all now in their 20s and out in the world, doing all the things, but they are Montessori alum. So yeah, I did it for my own children, I truly believe it, I love it, and now they're out in the world doing all the things. And?
I'm Tanisha Wilson. I am Cherry Blossom Toddler Guide. I have been doing this, I'm going into my 16th year. I am going into my 12th year at Greenspring. I also have 2 children who are now grown. You will see Miss Maggie actually working here as a toddler partner in the Sugar and Gold classroom. Yeah, I'm very excited to get to know everybody, and hopefully we'll be able to guide you on this new journey for your little ones, so that we can all have a great year. Because I know it's going to be a great year, and it's a very exciting adventure. So, yeah.
Okay. So, in a second, we're going to ask you to partner share, to find someone preferably that you don't know well, so definitely someone that you did not arrive with or do not live with, or share a child with, and introduce yourself, your name, your child's name, the classroom they're going into, and I know sometimes we can't remember their classes, you'll know them really well soon, so your guide's name, that's easier on you. And also, maybe think about back to your early childhood education of self. I personally cannot remember back to when my child was 18 months. When I was 18 months, you may be able to, but something about your early education, a really favourite memory, or just a memory. So we're going to do that for about 5 minutes, knowing that these people in this room will become your community. So you're in this journey together, you're going to get to know each other really well, and become, hopefully, we hope, and it usually happens, your own support network. So if we give you 5 minutes, we will ring a chime at the end, which is a very Montessori piece. You can see and hear a lot around here. And just find someone and introduce yourself and your child. Thank you.
Good morning, I'm Kim Morales. I've met most of you at the information session. We are so excited to have you all here. You have children in the most exciting time of their lives, where every day is something new and different, and you have children in the most exciting time of their lives, where you are chasing them because every day is something new and different. And you are in such wonderful hands. These folks are so experienced and know so much about little people and how to love them and respect them and honor them and bring out their greatest potential. And we're so excited you're here in Montessori. This is the perfect place for you to be. So, welcome and enjoy your journey. It's I have a 20-year-old and a 15-year-old, and I have to tell you, I feel like I've blinked. And here we are. So, yeah.
Okay. So also you can see the agenda is up here. We always like you to know what's coming. And we also want to know in a second what else you want us to know, what you want to get out of today. So we're going to get into that. I also wanted to make you aware that all of the toddler team will be arriving for the last hour. So all of the adults that will be working with your child in their classroom will come along, and they will introduce themselves, and you will get to stand up, talk, learn about them, tell them most importantly about your child. So they're coming, so you won't have to listen to me, I promise, for 2.5 hours. They will arrive and you will get to meet them, meet the other parents who will be in your classroom with your child. So that's really important for you to know as well. So you can see this is the plan today. We also love it to be as interactive as possible, so although there is a question and answer time built in. If there's something that we bring up or something that you're burning to tell us, please just let us know. We want this to be interactive and we want this to feel right for you. So anything at all, just shout at us. We will respond as best we can. Okay. Okay. So, with that said, what do you want to get out of today? What is it really important for us to make sure we cover? So Danusha is going to, so just shout it out. Danusha's going to write a list, and we're going to come back to our list at the end to ensure that we have touched upon the things that are important to you when you're sitting with your child right now. So if there's anything at all, please tell us. We want to make sure that we're responding to you. From toileting to all the other myriad of things that happen when you are parenting.
Is there a car line or drop off?
Car line and drop off. Yes.
I think the most critical habits to build would be like going to school.
So that home-school connection habits, right?
How the staggered start for the new ones kind of plays out in terms of their
That's how we phase them in.
phase them in.
Mhm, we'll definitely, and these are all pieces we will touch upon, but if there's very specific pieces, if we get to the end and we haven't, please tell us, we're going to come back to it. Also, I will say at this point, you'll all have a back to school night on Monday, next coming Monday. That's where a lot of this, in terms of your club, we'll get into more detail with your child's guide. So whilst we're touching upon all of this, we're also going to give you a little bit of Montessori philosophy, so you kind of have that foundational piece. And a lot of this, we'll go into more detail about the logistics at back to school night as well. So please know that as well. Is there anything else we should be making sure we cover? All of you.
Did we just do such a good job in our?
That's you! That's not me!
Well, I think the other topics were on that slide.
Great.
Okay.
So,
Okay. If anything else comes up, or if anything at the end, suddenly, please tell us. Please tell us. Okay. Let's do this thing. Okay. So, toddlers. We're going to talk a little bit about Montessori early childhood pedagogy. Okay. These early years that your child is in right now, they are so, so critical. Okay. For many of your children, and you, they're going to start developing their first real relationships outside of their nuclear family, outside of your home. It is such an important and critical time, okay? We want you all to know that we meet your child, your children, wherever they're at. Wherever they're at. We meet them with love and kindness and patience, and we truly are in awe of each little individual person. We want you to know that. So however they show up is how they show up, and that's where we meet them. Some will show up beaming, excited, and happy, and some will not, and that is all okay. And I haven't necessarily, Danusha has done it all, so however they show up, on the first day, on the second day, that is okay. We're going to meet them where they're at. Children, toddlers, are naturally egocentric. They are meant to be. That is not a fault. They are designed to be. They are self-constructing their personality themselves. So that is who they are, and that is what they're doing. It is big work, and all of our toddler guides know that, and are trained, highly trained, to meet them where they're at and help with that self-construction process. What we're really working on in those very early years is their independence. In order to work on that, they need to be egocentric, because they're working on their independence. They're working on their self-discipline, and by that we mean how to regulate mood, how to get their needs across, how to begin to empathize with the other toddlers in your room. It is very different being at home to coming into an environment with potentially 11 other children eventually. Not at the beginning, hence the phasing. We do not start 11 toddlers all on the same day. So when your child starts, they will start usually with one other, am I right in saying that?
It all depends. It depends on the classroom.
So
but
they
it's,
start in small groups so that
Yes.
those guides get to know your child as they are. And that's really this phasing. So it's all built on what children need at this point. what else do I need to say?
There's what, there's, is there 2 classrooms, 2 classrooms? I'm sorry, how many classrooms?
Five
Oh,
classrooms,
there's
five toddler
Yes.
classrooms. So when the team comes, there will be a lot of adults. And they'll introduce themselves and talk to you about what their roles are and where they work. But yes, it's 5 toddler classrooms. Okay, this is a quote from Dr. Montessori. I always ask, and I don't know if anyone is willing, would anyone in the room be willing to read the quote? It's often nice to have another voice in the room.
Children are human beings to whom respect is due, superior to us by reason of their innocence and of the greater possibilities of their future. Let us treat them with all the kindness which we would wish to help to develop them.
Okay, that's really a lot of why we do what we do. We really believe as Montessorians that children are not mini adults, they're not mini teenagers, they are toddlers, and that is exactly what they are meant to be, okay? You are the experts in your child. You are the experts in your child. Your guide will be talking to you, asking questions, listening to everything you could share. We want to know all the things about your individual child. We consider ourselves to be the expert in both Montessori and early child development, and together, when we have that really strong homeschool partnership, we really have what is best for the child. So we come to you and say, I've noticed this, what do you do at home? That's not because we don't have ideas, but we want to send to your child, and we know you are the experts. So please expect there to be that really strong partnership where we come and we listen and we problem solve together to best support your individual child. We understand the pedagogy and the developmental plane and what's needed for 2-year-olds, but you know your child. So we really rely on that strong partnership, especially at all levels, but especially at this level. It's so foundational. You want to say anything else about that?
Yeah, so the partnership between you and your guide is such a vital piece of this being a successful journey for your child. What we learn here and what we teach them here also needs to be mirrored at home. So it's important also for your guide to educate you so that you can support their emerging new skills and new independence. And giving your child, learning how to give your child the space and the grace to want to do it for themselves. Because ultimately that's what we want. We want them to build that motivation, like, I can do it myself. Right? Because in our culture, we tend to treat children of this age like babies. But I tell you, they're not. They're really not. And they are such capable people. Yes.
What does that communication look like? Is that
That's
email?
great.
Is that
That's a great question.
And we will talk
chat?
about communication, but I think it looks many ways. So please know if your guide is ever concerned or confused or worried, you're probably going to get a phone call which says, can we talk? I've noticed blank. So that happens. If it's not an urgent matter, you often will receive an email. You get 3 conferences a year, which is that formal time which you sign up for to sit down with your child's team to talk and understand and partner together. So those are 3 formal times. The one time I would say, and I always feel I have to say this, that's not good for sharing with your guide is at drop-off. At drop-off time, and I know I'm a parent and I remember dropping my children at school, that's the time when your guides need to be fully focused on your child and the children. They cannot conference at drop-off. And your child deserves to have them fully focused on them. So we always say to you, if there's something that's happened overnight, something that's changed in family, just something you need to tell us, phone the front desk, Gigi up the front desk will always get a message up to the classroom, always. If it's, suddenly I've got to pick up an hour early today because of whatever, phone the front desk, they will get any message. Or if it's something where you're like, I think we should have a conversation and sit down, email your guide, and you will together figure out a mutual time to come in. We want to talk, it's just that drop-off time is not the time because we have to be child-focused. Does that kind of help? But we do have 3 formal conferences every year, and you will there's October, February, May. So those are our formal conference times you get every year. And of course, there's also, you're going to get a classroom newsletter, you're going to get a lot of class-specific, but not necessarily more child-specific communication.
Kind of like feed off of that when it comes to like pickup, is it the same thing that like if a guy has a concern, they'll have like reached out while you're driving through the car line, let me tell you about this thing that happened.
Yeah, we're not going to do a lot of it then. Firstly, also because of confidentiality. It's just not fair on anyone. You, the child, anyone. So we don't do any of that during drop-off and pick-up. Does that? Yeah. That's the whys. And it is hard, and I understand busy lives. You see that person, you just want to tell them, just send us an email. We don't also check emails whilst we're with children, but we check emails daily. But it's not going to be whilst we're with the children. But we will get back to you.
Yes.
Does that?
Email is
And
always the best.
if urgent, call the front desk. They always get messages to the classrooms. Okay. Good questions.
Okay, so as you can see, this is one of the classrooms. The prepared environment, it's such a big part of your child's experience. I'd like you to notice how everything is child size. It's everything that the room is designed to be able to allow your child to learn and explore with everything in mind, even down to the work on the shelves. The guides put so much thought into everything that goes on the shelf. Notice I also refer to it as work. We don't call them toys. They're not playing, they're doing their work. It gives them a sense of purpose for everything that they do. What may look like to you as, oh, they're just spooning materials back and forth into a bowl. It's very purposeful. They're working on focus and concentration. They're learning a work cycle where they're choosing work, sitting down with it. They're learning to be a manager of their own time, building that motivation to want to do work, fine motor skills, using a spoon to scoop. There's very much purpose put into every single piece of material that you'll find in the classroom. And it's broken down into sections. We have practical life, which is your things like food prep and tonging and learning how to spoon and take lids off jars, like practice basically care for the environment. That's broken down into care for the environment, care for themselves. They'll learn to water plants and care for the environment. Learning how to be in a community, because toddlers are very self-centered. What's mine is mine, and what yours is mine, right? That is the mentality of a toddler. So they're now coming into a community where it's like, oh, it's not about me anymore. Yeah. So you'll find that there's only one button dressing frame. They're learning grace and courtesy, how to wait. Oh, when I'm done with this, you can have it, right? Lots of patience, right? Learning how to wait and how to wait like a polite observer. We're going to be a polite observer. They're learning all this grace and courtesy. Grace and courtesy is such an integral part of everything that we do every single day. It's not just about saying thank you. It's just about being a human being who has empathy and kindness towards others, right? And then expecting that in return, giving respect and having respect come after that. So we give them this environment where they learn all of this.
I would say the only other thing is like, you can see how ordered and organized it is. Very deliberate. That external order really supports children developing their own internal order. Think of that as like your self-discipline. Toddlers actually are typically pretty ordered. Like they like things in a certain place. That changes as children. If any of you have older children, and they're 6, 7, you will know that changes. That your typical 7-year-old, not ordered at all, I would say, having spent years and years and years in the classroom with them. But this external order really supports that. It kind of grows that. So
yes, they run on routine. They can't tell time. So knowing what comes next is so important. That consistency, it helps them. It truly helps them to feel safe and feel really comfortable in their environment. And there's a place for everything, and everything has its place. That is the motto. So they learn. They have a place for their jackets and their backpacks. They have a hook. They have a place for their shoes when they put on their inside shoes and their slippers. So, and they thrive off of that. You change that up, and that just totally dysregulates them. They like to know what comes next. Now, toddlers are very inflexible thinkers. That's just the nature of who they are. that is also another thing that they're learning during this adventure, is how to be more flexible. That's life, right? Sometimes you just have to pivot because something happens, and the routine is just not what it's going to be today as it was yesterday. And that's okay. We're there to help them learn that it's okay if we can't get outside today. There's going to be a day where it's too rainy or too cold that we won't be able to get outside, and it's going to throw them for a loop, right? So they're learning to be flexible and figure out, okay, I'm going to be okay. The world, the sky's not going to fall, right? It's such a big part of who they are and setting that foundation of the long game of what kind of an adult they're going to be in this world. They need to learn all this now because it's just going to set them up for success later on.
That's a good question.
Yes.
So I noticed almost everything in the room is child size. My daughter is really into sinks and dishwashers right now. So is she going to be allowed to, or is she allowed to mess with the sink and the dishwasher?
So there's freedom within limits, right? Typically we use the sinks for washing hands, and that is the purpose of using a sink, right? Or a sink for preparing food and washing fruits and things. So we talk about, and we do teach them, we don't want to waste, like there's the whole wasting of water thing, we do have those conversations. Yes, toddlers are naturally drawn to water, but we do have work to redirect them to that. So if they do have a need, which is one of the reasons, like we follow each child, right? And if the child has a need to be in water, we're going to have something to get that need. Playing in the sink isn't necessarily an option because because we have so many children who need to come and wash their hands. We do a lot of hand washing and everything. So they have many opportunities to use the sink. But it's a boundary, it's an expectation that they will learn. They will learn lots of expectations. But she'll also have many opportunities to play in water. We have water tables and water work, all kinds of things. So, yeah.
I would also say with that we view everything as a teachable moment. So every time where something goes the way that maybe we as the adults did not plan or did not foresee or don't particularly want, that's a teachable moment. That's a moment where you can offer a child a lesson, which feels very different to a redirection. You are redirection, but you're offering it in a very teachable moment. James,
Absolutely. Yep. Yes.
So since you guys have different parts of the classroom, let's say, like our son William loves language, and he's like every day he's drawn to the language part, now it's been like a week or two. Do you guys kind of try to gently say, oh, maybe you should explore this other part, or
Yes.
like how does that kind of work? I know it's kind of driven by the kids.
Right, so through the observations, right, we keep track of what each child is working on. Like, usually we have a paper, a board, and we're writing down, William worked on the object-to-picture matching today. I'll make note of that. And then I just kind of look, like, oh, it's a lot of language. Try to pull them out. Sometimes it can be a little intimidating. Sometimes a toddler may find a work that's challenging and then shy away from it. And then find a love in another area. So we just try to entice them, figure out a way to get them to be excited and engaged. And yes, so we would get them to try and expand and work the whole room. I will say, children, it doesn't matter who they are, they will love the art shelf. That is like the go-to. We get 1 million sticker pictures, 1 million gluing projects. But yes, we do everything we can to make sure that they are getting the full gamut of the room. Absolutely.
So I would say also that's our job as guides is really to entice them and to encourage them and invite them. And we also depend on our connection with them. Toddlers are pretty relational. So if they like you and they know you love them, they kind of want to hang out with you. So that's really often what it is. It's that relationship, and then the lesson is part of that. So that's it. I would also say that's also a really good example of partnership. So if we notice, for example, that William is not feeling the sensorial shelf, we'll probably say, we've noticed this. Is there anything else you can tell us? You know him best. Is there a thing that you can tell me and then I can figure out a work that can go on the shelf? So that is that partnership piece as well. So, but yes, we want to like open up the entire classroom to them, and we do our very best to do that. Yeah.
We want them to enjoy all of it. Okay. So as you can see, we go outside a lot and we give them many opportunities to just move, because toddlers, they learn with their entire bodies, right? All their senses. So we want them to make sure that they're meeting that need to exert their maximum effort and getting that energy out because it helps them to learn to regulate and settle and really be excited about all the things that we provide for them here. Notice the child here, he's helping to take care of, that's part of practical life. He's learning how to care for the plants. So that's a work that would be out on the shelf where he goes and he learns all the different steps to take the pitcher and fill it at the sink and then take it and gently pour it into the plant. But it's such a big part of every day, and they just really learn to love being here and taking ownership of the environment. In the beginning, it's more about the social and emotional stuff. In the first few weeks, it's just really getting them to learn to just want to be here, getting to know who their adults are in their room and feeling comfortable. And so they'll get basic lessons like how to carry a tray. Some of them have never carried a tray before. How to roll a work mat. They use a little work mat to work on the floor. But they get settled in. And like I mentioned before, they're learning to be flexible thinkers, how to learn to be in this community. Like that's such a big part, is really how I'm learning what their place is in this world that they're coming into, and how to work together. They'll learn how to make snack for each other and prepare snack. And that's such a big thing too, learning like when we do our group cooking and baking and all that fun stuff, they take such pride in things like how to prepare snack for the whole community. I mean, there's nothing better than watching a toddler peel an entire bowl of clementines and then pull them apart segment by segment, putting them in bowls, serving them up to the community. Enjoy this for you. Like, come on, that's such an amazing thing to see them take that sense of pride and then to have everyone really appreciate that they did that for them. Thank you. It's amazing. It's such amazing work that they do. Any questions about that? Independence. As we said, they're very self-centered. They're learning big work, learning toileting, hand washing, all these things, dressing, blowing their nose, all the things to care for themselves, as well as to care for the environment. And it just makes sense. I mean, these are just things that we do every day as adults, right? And never really think about like, oh, my child needs to learn how to do these things. And it's just built into what we do. Toileting is a huge part of what we do. It's part of our routine. If they're in diapers now, they will more than likely be hopefully in underwear by the end of the school year. At some point, your guide will talk to you about when they're ready to jump in. And toileting, I can talk about toileting all day long. I've been doing it forever. So I'm just going to touch on it, but when your child is ready, your guide will be in touch with you to let you know what the next steps are, how to support you, how to support your child at home, and what it looks like here at school for them as well. Hand washing, germs, all the things. We are always working on hand washing. They're washing their hands constantly. When they use the toilet, when they come in from outside, before they eat, all the things. Toddlers are just, they're learning not to spread their germs. They're doing this. They're, it's all the things. You'll see mucus probably come out of their nose all year long. Don't know why, it just does. It just happens, it starts, you're like, oh, you think they have a cold. No, it's just habitual, it just comes and just runs. We go through many tissues here. They're learning to set up for their naps. The children who stay all day will learn to put their crib sheet on their cots and set their cots up all by themselves. Snack, setting the table, putting their dirty dishes in the dishwasher. They're doing it. They're learning how to do all these things. And then by this time, the end of the school year comes, they're just running this room and we're just watching it. It's why I love this age group so much, because they change so much from September to June. It's amazing. It's so amazing to watch them be these little people that they're so capable of being. I love it. I can't imagine working with another age group. It's just so amazing.
I would also say the gift you're giving them by sending them to a Montessori environment is not just that they'll learn how to wash their hands really well. It's that the self-esteem that this builds and the self-confidence that you can look after yourself is incredible. Incredible for a 1, 2, 3-year-old to know, I got it, I can do it on my own. That's huge and amazing, and often in our society quite countercultural to what the rest of the world believes 2-year-olds are capable of. So I think that's just huge.
Like if you're not already starting here, I do it. I do it.
That's
You
what
will. You will. I do it. I do it, honey. I do it. You'll hear it. It'll come. Self-discipline. So with all the different areas, like practical life, everything, even when it comes down to like the spoons and the bowls and things, everything is child size. They're developing their work cycle, so that what that entails is they're choosing a work. If they haven't had a lesson, they'll get a lesson, right? It's like, oh, I wish I had to do the spoon. Would you mind if I give you a lesson on that? And we'll take it to a table, sit, give a lesson. As they're learning to work through and learn how to do that, through a typical work cycle, they'll choose it, take it to a table, sit down, do the work, do it again. When they're done, put it away, back on the shelf, go on to something next. So that's the typical work cycle. So it's time management, right? And using that time. Toddlers, typically we work up to a 2-hour work cycle. We start very small in the beginning and we build up to that. We have to build that stamina, right? To be able to get through a 2-hour work cycle. Then learning internal motivation. Learning how for them to want to do something by themselves. I do it. That, that's so important, that internal motivation as they go through the levels, to be independent and really just feel like I can do this myself. I don't need the adult to help me. I can do it. I want to do it. We want them to want to do something and feel that pride and be purposeful in everything that they do. We talked about the curriculum, the practical life, sensorial language. Language, as I said before, is such a huge thing at this age group. They're in that sensitive period for that. So many children will come in and have no language whatsoever, and then all of a sudden, a month later, they're just like, it's like a switch flips. Sensorial means all those other senses like touch, smell, hear. There's all work out that will meet every one of those. Manipulatives, they're doing puzzles. It may just be a puzzle, but there's still that fine motor grip, right, where they're strengthening and learning, and it's still helping them to build the focus and concentration. They go from that type of a work to learning how to do a traditional hand washing. So we do hand washing like at the sink, like we do every day, but then we also have the Montessori, sort of like the Montessori hand washing. It's very old-fashioned, looking where it's a basin. They'll take a pitcher to the sink and fill it, come back and fill the basin. It's very, but it's multiple steps. The purpose of it is not only to just learn how to do this and wash your hands in this bowl with a bar of soap that smells like peppermint. Oh my gosh. Right? And that's filling that another sense, right? But it's also giving them work as the year progresses that are longer and more multi-stepped, so that it stretches the working memory. Right? Because we want their memory, working memory to stretch and get longer, because when they get to children's house, you're going to get things that are like so many steps, like 30 steps long. So we're building that stamina for them to be able to go into children's house and have the foundation to be able to really be ready for the big work that they're going to get and that amazing work that they'll get in those classrooms. Anything you want to add?
I mean, the only thing I would say is what we're building really is what the world calls executive functional skills. Typically, people think of those as coming into elementary school when we talk about concentration and working memory and focus. We're building this right here with the youngest children. Right? We're stretching that all the time. So all these things we're doing are very intentional, and it's foundational to the rest of their life, really, and definitely the rest of their educational career. So we're trying to call upon that internal motivation to work and to focus and to concentrate. We're doing that.
It is. What a gift, right? What a gift it is to set this up for them, to allow them to have this adventure, because then they're going to go out into the world as adults and they're going to be ready for it. I mean, I wish I had that. I I want to go back and be a Montessori child myself. But it's just, it makes sense what we do here. I wish everybody knew about it and wish everybody could go through this. It's just amazing to me. Grace and courtesy. I mentioned grace and courtesy is a big part of what we do. It's building their character. They're learning to be in the community, learning how to language. Look at that. You know, we keep on going, like the child, I mean, not toddlers can be loud. If little Johnny's screaming, ah! I mean, oh, they're so excited about that book. Can we sit down and read it together? You whisper to them, they're gonna bring it down. They're gonna bring it down. But greetings and goodbyes, please and thank yous, that's all part of it. It's all it's in everything that we do. Everything. There isn't anything I can imagine that we don't do throughout the day that some kind of grace and mercy is built into it. Right? It makes us who we are and the human beings that we are out in the world. Right?
I have a question.
Yes.
My son is very, he could be rough. So how do you help with that? Like, he could just go and grab like a kid's hair and pull it, and you know, of course, we try to redirect those behaviors, but I'm sure that that's going to happen. So how do you redirect that?
So I would say modeling is huge. We model with gentle hands. I can remember a child that specifically 2 years ago, Toddler, who had really struggled with hair pulling. So what we did, after really observing this and going in and role modeling and having conversations with the family, was we brought a doll's head into the classroom with hair, and it became a place because actually that he really wanted to brush the hair and feel the hair. So we brought in a work. We did that alongside talking to this child about gentle hands and partnering with the family. So we're going to partner with you, we're going to be really honest and say, we observe this, this is what we're doing, this is what we suggest you do at home. Every child is different, so it's really hard to give you specifically what I would do or we would do in that specific, but we're going to talk to you. Obviously also, we're going to do alongside that a lot of checking that everyone is safe. Safety is our priority for everyone. So we're going to also, do what we can do. We're going to observe, is it one particular child? Then we might have to, we understand that this is the child. So it's very particular, but we're going to be talking with you, understanding better what you're seeing at home, giving lots of language. So if it's about that child doesn't have, they want to play with something, but they don't have the language. So then we give lots of language and different ways they might get it. They might be able to interact with someone. So it's hard to give you a specific because it's often for different motivations, but we're going to step into it, yes. Does that help a little bit?
Yeah, so it's our job to kind of figure that out and because as Shelley said, it's individual by child. It could be a child who wants to engage and play with someone but doesn't have the language to say, hey, let's play.
Yeah.
So, and it's very much within the realm of developmentally appropriate, biting,
Those
pushing,
things happen.
grabbing. That's toddler land right there. So they're learning.
I think the other thing we do a lot in Toddler and in Children's House is we empower all the children who have the language to say, that hurts, or don't, we give them the language to actually advocate for themselves as well. I don't like it when. So there's multi steps to that, and every child is different, but we have lots of tools in our tool belt, and we also partner with you and talk with you about all of those
Absolutely. Yeah. Language, as I said, it's just such a big thing at this age. A lot of it in the beginning of the year is just naming things, learning how to volley a conversation and what that looks like. Oh, I'm going to talk. Because toddlers, so for example, let me give you an example. When I'm sitting at a snack table with 5 other toddlers, I try to start a conversation because this is where I can give them lots of new rich vocabulary for them to hear and put in their banks, right? But then when you ask a question, right? Oh, do you have a dog at home? Then they're all, So that's part of learning how to have a conversation. Like, so they're learning that grace and courtesy, right? Of how to volley a conversation. I'm asking you, and then I'm going to ask you. So it's like they're learning all this stuff, but we're always, every opportunity, we're having real conversations, we're telling those stories. I may sit down and say, let me tell you about what I had for breakfast this morning. Did you know I had oatmeal? I put it in a mug, and I put cinnamon and fresh berries and honey. It was so good. Oh my gosh, I can't wait to have it again tomorrow morning. What did you have for breakfast? So we're just really bombarding and supporting this explosion. And you're going to see it at home. They're just not going to shut up. Because they're just like, they can tell you everything now. So it's just amazing. It's just amazing to watch them go from saying nothing to just having so much and really knowing and seeing what's going on around the world and wanting to tell you about it. Or tell you about that log we lifted up today and found 3 worms. Right? So we really fully embrace it, we support it, and we try to nurture it as much as we possibly can. Any questions about that? Yes?
How do you handle, so the communication that my son has, if he sees, I mean, it was man for a while when he saw a web, but it meant Spider-Man, but it was a web.
Yes.
Like, how do you take those words that he has already, or if he sees something that may have been on Bluey, he says, bingo, that would have no context for you. How do you incorporate that into language and communication?
So I try to stay up on all the toddler lingo these days. I know who Bluey is. I really do. But we will really work hard to use the real words for everything. We don't use baby talk. We don't, like if they come up and say, one year I had a child who referred to a horse as a nene. Nene. I was like, yes, you saw a horse. It's a horse. So it's not like I'm not going to correct them. I'm just going to follow up. Like, found a dog. Or if it's mentioned about Bluey, Bluey's a dog, isn't it? You know, so it's, we really do work hard to give the real meaning to everything that we do without correcting, you know, I mean, making them feel like they're doing anything wrong. So we just, it's very casual, we try to keep it very real, very relaxed, because I want to hear what they have to say. Yes, they may call it a nene, but eventually they're going to horse, right?
We want them to talk.
We really want them to talk. Yeah.
And if they're saying things that we don't understand, we're going to come to you and say, can you help me understand? Because I'm hearing this. I don't know.
And we may.
We may come to you and say, we don't know, please help.
Yes.
That's that partnership, please.
Yes.
You are the experts in your child, we are not. So we're going to come to you.
If they are they're toddlers, if they're so frustrated, they're crying, they're upset because you can't understand whatever it is that they're trying to do, what is the protocol that you guys do for that? Is that like a...
So yes, that happens. When they don't have the language, they can get frustrated when you're asking them for like the 3rd time. So sorry. Can you tell me that again? Meltdowns happen. It's developmentally appropriate. We want them to have it. That's where they're learning to regulate. We just make sure that they're safe. We let them ride it out. We let them know, I'm here when you're ready. Because it's really important for them to feel what they're feeling in that moment. They're allowed to feel those feelings. They're big, they're huge. We name them. We talk about feelings a lot. Oh, I see that you're frustrated. We give the label to everything. We try to label everything that we give so that they learn what they're feeling, right? And we just write it out. When they're ready, you need a hug. We're here. They're allowed to feel
And we also talk to you as well.
Yes,
We
and
let
they'll
you
let you
know.
know. Absolutely.
Yeah. This happened today, so we're letting you know.
And this is how we handled it. Yeah. Sure. Anything else? It's normal. It's okay. Usually they get to the classroom and they're fine. Once they start seeing other children, they're usually fine within the first few minutes. Now, if you need to know that they're okay later on, call the front desk. The front desk will buzz up. We'll let Gigi know, and they can get back to you, and they're okay. They're fine. You really need to know if they've settled.
Okay, just a quick question about the keeping off. She's attached to her mental weight. Eventually that we will come give them help, right?
You and I will have a conversation with you about that. Yes.
So the more
Absolutely.
specific ones, I would wait until your guide is here so you
Yeah.
can talk with your individual guides.
Sure.
Yeah, yeah.
So just generally what you can expect for drop off is, I know they are supposed to design, but they normally come to the car.
That you'll stand outside the doors, you'll take your child out.
Oh, you
you'll
will
wait
take them
Yes.
out?
You'll take your child out,
Yeah,
that
you'll take your
car's
child
here.
out of the car.
Yeah.
And you'll
Right
wait
to the front.
to the front door outside the building and someone will come out. Yes.
And by then, by the time toddler car line starts, most of the older children will be through and those parents will be off campus. Yours is the latest car line, very deliberately. So the older children will have gone, so it won't be 200 people dropping off children when you arrive. Just so.
And this includes the first day.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah.
Just mention.
And, yes, it's the same
Well,
way.
we will talk about
Yes,
separation.
yes,
and
yes,
all these
yes,
things.
absolutely.
We'll talk about that.
And pickup's the same thing. You wait, we bring your child out. Unless they're in Discovery, you'll pick them up from probably the playground. Then we go into the work, so the children come in, they put their things away, they'll toilet, they'll go into their work cycle. That includes the community snack during that time. We'll go outside so they have time to just be and run and play and scream and do all the things that they need to do to get, after being so busy. I find that they are exhausted by the end of the day. It's a very new schedule, very different type of work that they're going to be doing. So expect them to be exhausted. Some children will go half-day dismissal, that's at 11:50. The rest of the children will stay and they'll have lunch and nap. They'll have a beautiful lunch. They'll sleep till about 2:30. They go down roughly between 12:30 and 1 and sleep till 2:30. Then the children who do not go to afternoon discovery, which is our aftercare, will be dismissed at 2:50, 2:45, 2:50. And all the other children who stay later will go to afternoon discovery. That's pretty much the gist of the daily schedule. Yes.
Can you talk a little bit about the afternoon discovery? Like, my understanding is like a little less structured, more free
Yes.
play, but like, who would I need to know? Is there a guide I should be in touch with? Or is it all ages? Like, I just
So a lot of our partners. So,
Yes.
so most of the adults that will be with our toddler afternoon discovery will be what we call our assistants, who you're going to meet when the whole team comes. We call partners. So that's just our language. Most of the adults are actually our toddler partners. So people that your children will be very familiar with, I've seen every day on the playground, even if they're not in their morning class. Does that make sense? We do have, Fernanda is someone who actually oversees discovery. So you're going to get emails from her. She's your person if you need to change hours or I've got to pick up early or those pieces.
Yeah.
But the actual adults who are working outside or inside with your children in discovery will mainly be your toddler partners who you're going to meet when the whole team comes. So we understand they need to have familiar, safe people. We're not going to throw in, oh, this is a brand new person that you've never seen before. We don't do that.
And it's really not structured. They're going to be out on the playground as long as the weather is fine. They'll be on the playground most of the time, just running around and playing. Separation, as I said, it's really a big thing at this age. What I ask your homework is to really stay positive about school. Your children are so fine-tuned to you. You are their people, right? And they pick up on everything that you're feeling. So just be mindful not to project. Because it's
Particularly
so
on
much
the day.
harder. Yeah, right? And just talk it up. This is going to be your space. This is going to be great. These are going to be your teachers. You know, it's just try to put that brave face on because they're going to know. There's little sponges and they take everything and absorb it all. Tears are normal. It's normal. Most of the time they'll cry, they'll come in, 10 minutes later they're fine. They're like, oh, look at that, it's a ball checker. Okay? You know, so it looks worse at the drop off, but once they're in, they're good. Now, we will not let your child cry forever and ever and ever.
We don't do that.
In some cases, very rare, some children are just inconsolable. They don't want to be touched. They don't know us. We can't. I want to love them. It's going to be okay. But first, I need to earn their trust, right? We may call and say, I think they've had enough for today. So just be aware that your guide may call you if Jenny can't make it to whenever it is. So just keep that in mind. But it does pass. Some children may just need a little more time, and that's okay. It's very rare, but I just wanted to put that little nugget that sometimes it does happen. And we just really need to meet them where they are, right? We want them to love being here. We want this to be a positive experience. Part of the process is going to be going over, your guide will go over that. Yeah.
Liz had a really good, this is a Liz, I'm stealing this one from Liz. And Liz may have already told you this as well, but I really loved it. I wish I'd done it when my child was this big, and now they're 28, so it's a bit common now. When you come for your visit day to your child's classroom and they're in the classroom with you, they're happy and enjoying it and it's exciting. This is the one time where we say maybe whip out your phone, you'll never hear me say this again, and take a few pictures so that you can talk at home like this is your classroom. If they're really comfortable with Danusha's their guide, I'm imagining, ask Danusha, can we take a photo of our child with you so you've got it at home and you can say, this is Danusha, you're going to see Danusha tomorrow, remember? Like, use all those things. Let your child know, Danusha's my friend, I love Danusha, you're going to do all of that. They are going to pick up on your energy. It is going to be, I will say, and this doesn't go away, it was like this college drop-off, I can tell you. It doesn't, it is harder on you, I can absolutely tell you than it is on them. And when I drop my 19-year-old at college, it's just as, it's consistently harder for us as parents than it is on them. But, you know, do all those things. Let them know that you really love Danusha and you're so excited they're going to be spending their day with you. Do all of those things. They pick up on all of that.
Also, consistency is key. Make sure you have a solid routine. I know things happen, life happens, there are pickups. But for the most part, it's so important they arrive on time. It's so important that you get a routine down, that they know what to expect. It's just going to help them settle quicker. It just is what's out. I can't stress it enough that consistency is so important for them at this age. I talked about, you know, they have a place that will have a hook with their name, a place to put their things, to hang their coats, their backpacks, put their inside shoes on, toileting, washing hands, lessons. We went through all this. Outdoor environment, the classrooms all have outdoor environments. They're all free to fluctuate in and out all morning. If they want to work in the outdoor environment, they're free to do that as they see fit. They'll get lessons outside as well as inside, which is one of the many beautiful things that they will get every day, to be able to be outside as much as they like.
I have a question.
I just have a quick question. Since we don't come in on the first day, do we bring all of this stuff that they'll need, like rain boots and rainsuits?
I suggest bring it to your visit.
Okay.
I recommend that way. You're going to be dealing with so much your first day. If
Right.
you can drop your stuff off beforehand,
Okay, I didn't know that.
it'll be one less thing for you to worry about. Absolutely. We have our gathering. Gathering is where we have our circle time and we sing songs, snack. Then we go from there to outside. We talked about that. Rain or shine, we go outside in all weather. There's no bad weather, just bad clothing, right? So please make sure that your child has everything they need to enjoy the weather, because there are days that will be very, very cold. There will be days where it's raining. Not pouring, but if it's spritzing like today, or if it's warm and it's a light rain, we're going to go outside and we're going to get muddy and we're going to jump in puddles and we're going to do all the things. Just because that's life, right? We function, and rain, shine, snow, all the things. And we don't go outside when it's just a beautiful day. Right, so we take advantage of being outside as much as possible. Hand washing, I just said, we do a lot of hand washing. We'll come in and do that and have lunch. Beautiful meal. They will eat off of plates that are glass. They will drink from glasses. They will use real silverware. Learn how to take their food from their lunchbox and put it on their plates, and cloth napkins in their laps. All this grace and courtesy, it's such a beautiful thing to watch. Then they will clean all that up and put it in a dishwasher, and learn how to load the dishwasher and wipe down tables, sweep floors, all that fun stuff, and put their things away. Here's a quick, do you think maybe we'll do this? Yes. This is just a quick, so this, just to give you context, this is a toddler room where the children are helping set up for snack. How do I start it?
We do it. We're going to get your mouse over here.
Look at that. Didn't know how to do that.
may not remember me or never met me. I'm the Director of Advancement here. And Liz asked that I come in and clarify some questions that came up around afternoon napping. So to give you a little background, we are a napping program in the afternoon. You should know that. So if you have a toddler, which you do, and you are enrolled full day, your child needs to be napping in the afternoon. Okay? If we're heading into the year and your child is not napping, we need to talk because this program is a napping program in the afternoon. Okay? You all completed, hopefully, a skills inventory that told us that your child, yes? Does anyone know what you're talking about? Okay, good. The nods are good. Okay. That, my child's napping, these are the hours, right? And sometimes they're like, not every child, I didn't have nappers. So if you have nappers, that's amazing. But not all children, we get it, right? But you reported to us that your child's napping in this time, or most of the time, or what have you, right? We're relying on that information. It's part of our trusting partnership. If that is not the case, and if you have a child who is not napping in the afternoon, reach out to Liz or I. We need to really talk through that because our program is a napping program in the afternoon. What that means is that our staff are in there with your children napping. Sometimes there's team meetings and things. We do not have the staff to have a non-napping toddler program in the afternoon and a napping program in the afternoon. We just simply don't have the staff, okay? At the same time, we recognize that you all need care because you work in all the things, right? So we are in conversation with our team, and this is where a little bit we're not aligned completely, but we are working really hard. We believe it is the administration's, it's our responsibility to figure this out for our families. We're committed to you that if you've signed up for a full day for your child and your child is struggling napping, it's a different environment coming here and napping in a classroom with, I promise you, most of the time it works. Janisha probably said that, or Shelley. Most of the time it works. It gets really quiet. There's noise. You probably talked about all the things. Okay? There's sound and machines and all the things. They rub their back if they can. Like, there's all the things that they try. Weighted blankets sometimes. Sounds a little, but whatever works to help the child sleep. Sleep is so important. It's so important for their brain development. And not only is it important for your child, but it's important that your child allows everyone else in the room to nap, right? Everyone has to nap. Because if your child's not napping, it makes for a very challenging evening. It makes for a very challenging routine in their system and all the things they need to nap. So we try to support that as much as possible. And most of the time, children nap. They're a little, it takes a little bit sometimes, but the guides and the assistants and partners really work hard and spend a lot of time strategizing, moving cots, doing different things so that the child naps, okay? If it happens that your child is really struggling napping, they're going to give it however long they feel like they can give it. They're experts. Sometimes they know right off, this is not going to work, but they're going to still try, right? If it happens that your child is not napping, and it is October, and it's a daily thing, we're going to need to talk to you because we don't have the staff to run a full day non-napping toddler program, okay? If it's a thing where your child, is going through a couple-week period of time, or they're not feeling well, or what have you, and they're having trouble, we're going to do everything we can to provide a place for your child to go and rest and still be here for the day. The very, very last resort for us is to say you have to move to half day. We don't want to do that, but we cannot staff every day, full day for a non-napping group of toddlers. Does that make sense? So in the past, we haven't had a solution, and we've had to say to families, you're going to have to move to half day. And Tamara and Sherry, Wolf, and I all believe that is a real disservice to you all who need the care full day. So be patient with us as we figure it out. Complete transparency. I have no idea what it's going to look like. But school starts next week, and we have to figure it out, right? What we're not going to do is we're not going to ask our guides to just deal with it. That's not how we operate as an administration. I know Janusha's like, well, I don't know how we're going to do that. It's hard. When Janusha's going to feel the responsibility for all her her cherry blossoms to nap. And then you have one who's, making it really hard for everyone else to nap. And it's really hard on our staff because they see what they then hand you when nobody naps in the room. It's a mess, right? It's really hard. So they're working really hard. We're going to work really hard to support them and figure out a solution so that your child can rest. That's important. Hopefully nap, but rest in a quiet space so everyone has that time to rest and recharge.
We talked a lot about preparing the separation. Make sure you're giving all the good vibes about school, talking really positively about that, establishing a routine that's pretty consistent every day. Have your child help get things ready, and maybe they might help prepare their lunch or whatever snacks, or prior to school starting, maybe they help pick out the things that they're going to use for school, which helps them connect to the things that everything is coming for them to be involved in. Again, establishing that routine, that's so important.
Yeah. So one of the key ways you can actually help prepare your child for school, we find here as they're coming into a Montessori environment, is, this is going to sound a little odd, allow them to be bored. Do not feel the need to entertain your child or give them entertainment all the time. So they're not going to be in front of screens at all at school. We don't show them videos, none of that happens here. They're not going to see us, with the exception of taking attendance, which we obviously have to do every day for safety purposes, and which we do on a computer. They are not going to have any screens in their environment at all at school. So it's really good if your child is used to screens when they're feeling tired, a little frustrated, to gradually pull back on that. So, that's a key part of understanding as you come into a Montessori environment, that the children just, until they enter the elementary years, really just no screens. So if that's a big part of your family life, and I'm not here to judge anyone, please know that a really important helps to set your child up for success is to just gradually pull back on that time. This has got to be you.
Okay.
And we're not going to go into huge details about this, but it is, I think, really a huge part of Toddler is toilet learning.
Yes, and this is just really, this could be a topic all in itself. Your guide will be the person, your point person, for when your child is ready for underwear, if they're not already in underwear. It just basically goes over, it's going to be a partnership. They're going to help you set up at home and give you everything that you need to support your child, because this is your child's journey. We're just there to guide them along. Your guide will be there to answer all the questions that you have along the way. And when that happens, it'll probably, more than likely, we're going to ask you to pick a weekend, maybe a long weekend when we have a 3-day weekend, to just dive right in, and that's what you do all weekend. It's a big milestone for your child. It's a big change, it's a big thing. So your guide will look for all the readiness signs and be in touch with you to start that journey. Any questions?
You're
Yes.
talking about when they start the routine, they get here, what do they do for their children?
It's still part, so when they're here, they get they put their things away, they'll toilet, get their diaper changed. We'll get them learning to sit on the toilet. So it's just kind of built in to just, using a toilet is just part of the routine. It's just something that we do every day. So it just becomes the norm. Yes?
So our son is an older toddler, he'll be 3 in September, so we're sort of in between toilet training right now.
Yes.
How do we sort of, how does that work?
Is your son in underwear?
Yes.
Yeah, I would start, you'll send
Send him in underwear,
underwear.
he will come in underwear. Yeah.
Absolutely.
So if you're already in this and your child is in underwear,
We're going to continue.
send them in
that journey.
underwear. Like, yes. And also talk to your guide about
Yes.
where he is, where you are in that process. Yeah, definitely.
What are like signs of readiness?
So basically, where we start is like they're learning to get their pants up and down, that independent piece, because they have to learn that. We do, even when they're in diapers, they're learning to get changed standing up. We change diapers standing up with them, with the child standing up. Being able to hold their urine for longer periods of time, staying dry, being willing participant to sit on the toilet. They may not void into the toilet, but there's more than ready and willing to sit. All the things, and then seeing all the other children doing it, they want to do it too. So it's really helpful that there's all doing this together. But there's those very basic, simple signs.
At home, I would also say, showing a real interest in you or other people in the home using the toilet.
You see when they're having a bowel movement, they
one.
can hide and want privacy when they're having their bowel movement in their diaper. That's also a sign that they're very much becoming aware of what their body is doing. So yeah, and it's certainly, I've found, in my experience, the sooner the better. The closer you get to 3, the harder it is, the more you're battling the will. They don't want anyone telling them what to do with their bodies, right? So I would suggest the sooner the better, when they're much more of a willing participant. Approach to discipline, who's you?
Yeah. So really, what we're talking about here, there's this misconception out in the world that Montessori is a free-for-all. It's just freedom and we just let them do whatever they want. I'm here to tell you nothing could really be far from the truth. There's a huge amount of freedom built in for the individual child, but it's within limits. So freedom within a framework is often how I say this to parents. So there is a framework which is all about expectations and role models. It's not about a set of rules. If you've ever tried to give a set of rules to a toddler, you'll know that doesn't work. But it is all about role modeling and expectations and choices. So not a complete, what would you like to do, but would you like to do this or this? That typically works better with most children, and definitely with 2 and 3-year-olds, I would say. So it's a framework. So we set up the environment. It's our job to create a prepared environment which supports the child's self-discipline. We're building those skills. We're building focus. We're building internal motivation. We're being part of the community. We're learning how to share, how to observe, how to turn and take. There really isn't, you're not going to experience punitive discipline in any way. Everything, like we said, is a teachable moment. We see everything as an opportunity to help build that child's success and skill levels. So everything really almost becomes a lesson. Oh, let me show you how to do that. Or even without the language, just role modeling how to do that. So that's really what we mean by Montessori discipline. That's really what we're doing. Another really big piece that we do if the child is having a hard moment, they're experiencing some big, deep emotions, we bring them closer. So there are no timeouts. I think of it as a time in. So when a child of any age is really struggling, I'm going to offer them to come closer to me, or I'm going to put myself closer. Or if they're showing me, you know what, I need my space, I'm going to respect that they need their space. So there's no time out, there's no away from the community because we all know when we're struggling, to feel on your own in that moment is pretty hard. So we tend to bring them in. We also know that when any child is experiencing big emotions, that is not a moment when you can lecture and talk about all the things. So we wait. We wait for those moments. That's really, is there anything else you want to say?
It's really like in that moment too, they're just so looking for connection.
Connection before correction.
Absolutely.
So we connect first, we build the relationships, we earn the trust, we don't assume the trust of the child. And then we're in a place where we can go from there. Could you ask your friend this? Or could you tell your child, no, I don't like it? No. So it's all about teachable moments and learning and framework. And we see with children, every child is different. Some children are going to need fewer choices. Others are more able to deal with more. When we learn your individual child, then we can support them better. Does anyone have any questions around discipline? That's not my favourite word.
Yes, well, maybe not quite. But, talking about emotional development at this stage. So, they're learning how to name the feeling, right? But then the next step is what do I do with that feeling and how do I develop a healthy or express it as a healthy what is the teaching behind that, or like how do you teach that? Or, for example, like, if my kid is really frustrated, she'll tell me now, I'm frustrated. And then she'll tell me why she's frustrated, and take deep breaths. And it's because she imitates me when I'm feeling that way. I express it, and then I tell her why. Read it. The whole thing. So then how is that modeled in the classroom? Like, because they learn by example sometimes.
We model exactly, so you just answered your own question. We do
Okay.
what you do.
Yeah.
We do that, like we will literally model, we will drop a dish, it happens, of course. That's a teachable moment. I drop a dish, I don't say, oh, I'm so clumsy, why did I do that? I'm going to model, oh, I dropped a dish. I can go and get the room, I can sweep it up. So we model all the things. If I'm feeling frustrated, I might say, I'm going to take 3 deep breaths. I am feeling frustrated. So it's modeling. Modeling is the way at this age. Of course, we may read a picture book about feelings, but really, the key, we might have a language work on a shelf that has 5 faces expressing different feelings, but that's given in the labeling. But for the actual co-regulation, or the regulation, so we co-regulate with children,